Most people operate under a dangerous assumption when they see a cylinder. They count to 5 in their head. They think that's the rule. 5 shots, then the threat is over, or you're reloading. That kind of thinking gets people hurt. The rule of 5 is ancient history. We are living in an era where metallurgy and engineering have pushed the wheel gun into semi-auto territory regarding capacity. We aren't talking about full-size duty irons hanging off a police belt in the 70s. We are talking about snub-noses, concealable, short-barrel revolvers that pack 8 rounds or more. If you think a snub-nose is limited to 5 shots, you're playing a game of chance you don't need to play. Today, we're looking at the high-capacity snubbies, the ones that keep shooting when the bad guy thinks you're dry. We are ranking them from the entry-level plinkers to the absolute apex predators of personal defense. Let's get into it. Starting off the list, we have something that feels like a history lesson wrapped in modern materials. This is for the shooter who grew up watching Saturday morning westerns but lives on a modern budget. We're looking at the Diamondback Sidekick, specifically the short-barreled variant. This thing is a bit of a weird bird. It looks like a single-action army had a one-night stand with a modern double-action revolver. It holds 9 rounds. That's right, 9 rounds of .22 LR. It sits in the hand like a heavy piece of nostalgia. The grip angle is pure cowboy. It points naturally, like pointing your finger. The mechanism here is interesting because it gives you that swing-out cylinder, which solves the biggest headache of the old single-action revolvers, which was loading 1 round at a time through a gate. With the Sidekick, you punch the cylinder out, dump 9 rounds in, and you're back in the fight. Or more likely, back to plinking cans. Let's be real about the application here. This isn't your primary carry piece for a dark alley. The trigger in double-action mode is heavy. It stacks up like you're pulling a truck through mud. In single action, when you cock that hammer back, it's crisp. It breaks like glass. I was at the range last week with a buddy of mine, an older guy who refuses to touch anything made of polymer. He picked this up and put 9 rounds into a ragged hole at 7 yards, giggling the whole time. It brings out the kid in you. But for defense, it's a backup to the backup. It's the gun you throw in the tackle box when you're heading out to the lake. It ranks low because the fit and finish can be a bit rough around the edges, and that heavy double-action pull makes rapid, accurate fire a challenge under stress. But for pure capacity and fun factor, it earns its spot. Stepping up a notch, we move from the cowboy vibes to something strictly utilitarian. This is the working man's snub-nose. The Taurus 942. Taurus has had a roller coaster reputation over the decades, but the 942 is one of those pieces where they really seem to lock it in. You're getting 8 shots of .22 LR or .22 Magnum. It's built on a compact frame that feels substantial. It doesn't feel like a toy. When you pick it up, it's got some heft to it, which is exactly what you want when you're trying to stabilize a short barrel. The grip is rubberized, absorbing what little recoil the rimfire cartridge produces. It sticks to your hand even if you're sweating. The personification of this gun is the blue-collar shift worker. It's not flashy. It's not wearing a tuxedo. It shows up, punches the clock, and does the work. However, we have to talk about the trigger. Out of the box, the double-action pull is a workout. We are talking 10+ pounds. If you don't have decent grip strength, you might find your sights wandering off target as you fight through the break. I've seen new shooters struggle to keep a tight group with this simply because they're fighting the springs. But here's the reality check. For the price, it's a solid trainer. You can burn through 500 rounds of .22 LR for the price of a sandwich these days, practicing your trigger control. If you can master the trigger on a 942, you can shoot just about anything. It sits here in the rankings because it's reliable and affordable, but it lacks the refinement to go higher. Now we are getting into the tanks. If the previous entry was a sedan, this next one is an armored personnel carrier. The Ruger SP-101 in .22 LR. Ruger doesn't know how to make a fragile gun. They overbuild everything. This is a solid stainless steel frame. It holds 8 rounds. The barrel is usually around that 2.25-inch mark, keeping it concealable, but the weight is significant. This gun is heavy, and in this case, heavy is good. That weight completely deletes recoil. Shooting .22 LR out of an SP-101 feels like shooting a cap gun. There is zero muzzle flip. You can dump all 8 rounds into the center mass of a target as fast as you can pull the trigger, and the sights barely move. Speaking of sights, this is where Ruger steps ahead of the budget options. You get a real fiber optic front sight. It glows. It grabs your eye. In a high-stress situation, you aren't lining up black notches. You are putting that bright green dot on the bad guy. I remember running a drill with this against a shot timer. The ability to transition between targets is insane because the gun just hangs there. It's stable. So why isn't it number 1? The trigger. Ruger triggers are robust, but they aren't exactly match grade out of the box. It's a long, smooth, but heavy pull. Also, for some people, it's too heavy to carry comfortably in a pocket. This is a belt gun. It's a trail gun. It's the gun you want when you're hiking and might run into a coyote or a snake, and you need absolute mechanical reliability. It's a beast, but it lacks the finesse of the top tier. Let's strip the weight away. All of it. We are moving to the Smith & Wesson Model 317 kit gun. This is the Airlight series. It holds 8 rounds of .22 LR. When you pick this up for the first time, your brain has a hard time processing it. It feels like it's made of helium. It weighs almost nothing. You can clip this onto gym shorts and forget it's there. The 317 features an exposed hammer, giving you that single-action option if you need to take a precise shot at a rabbit or a squirrel. It's called the kit gun for a reason. It's meant to be part of your survival kit. But let's talk about defensive use. The advantage here is that you will actually carry it. The best gun for defense is the one you have on you, not the one left in the safe because it was too heavy. The 317 disappears on the body. The trade-off is that because it's so light, you feel everything. Even with .22 LR, you get a little snap. It's not painful, but it's snappy. And the finish, that clear coat aluminum look, it picks up scratches if you look at it wrong. It's a tool, not a display piece. I knew a guy who did long-distance ultra-light hiking. He counted every gram in his pack. He cut the handle off his toothbrush to save weight. This was the only gun he would carry. 8 rounds of reassurance that weighed less than his water bottle. It ranks high because the engineering to get a revolver this light and functional is impressive. But the exposed hammer can be a snag hazard if you're drawing from a pocket. That brings us to the sibling of the 317. A gun that fixes the snagging issue and leans fully into the self-defense role. The Smith & Wesson 43C. If the 317 is the hiker, the 43C is the ghost. It's a centennial frame, which means the hammer is enclosed inside the gun. Nothing to snag on clothing, nothing to catch on a pocket liner. You can fire this form inside a jacket pocket if you absolutely had to, without the action jamming up. It holds 8 rounds of .22 LR. It has a big white dot sight on the front that looks like a golf ball. It is designed for one thing: fast, reactive shooting at close range. There is a concept in self-defense called the swarm of bees. The idea is that while a .22 might not have the raw knockdown power of a .45, putting 8 rounds into a threat in under 2 seconds creates a massive psychological and physiological stop. No one wants to leak from 8 holes. The 43C is the perfect delivery system for that concept. The trigger on these double-action-only Smiths is usually smoother than the rimfire counterparts from other brands. It's still stiff. Rimfires need a hard hit to ignite, but it's manageable. This is my go-to recommendation for people who are recoil sensitive. Maybe they have arthritis or weak wrists, but need a serious defensive tool. It's effortless to carry and effortless to shoot. It sits in the top 3 because it is arguably the best get-off-me gun on the market today. Now, we leave the rimfires behind. We are stepping up to the big leagues. We are talking about stopping power that rattles your teeth. The Smith & Wesson Model 627, specifically the 2.6-inch Performance Center version. This is an N-frame. For those who don't speak Smith & Wesson, the N-frame is the big boy. It was originally designed for the .44 Magnum, but here they drilled it for 8 rounds of .357 Magnum, 8 rounds of .357 Magnum. Let that sink in. That is more firepower than a standard 1911 pistol in a revolver. This gun is personified as the heavyweight boxer in a tailored suit. It's stainless steel. It's beautiful. The cylinder is unfluted, giving it this solid, monolithic look. The barrel is short, but the frame is large. Because it's a big, heavy steel gun, it tames the .357 Magnum recoil surprisingly well. Don't get me wrong, you still know you set off an explosion in your hand, but it doesn't hurt like it does in a small gun. The trigger, it's Performance Center tuned. It's like breaking a glass rod. It is smooth, consistent, and unbelievably crisp. So why isn't it number 1? Size. The N-frame is wide, the cylinder is thick. Trying to conceal this inside the waistband requires some dedication. You need a good belt and a good holster. It's not a toss-in-the-pocket gun. It's a commitment. But if you can dress around it, you are carrying the most firepower per square inch of any revolver out there. It's a devastating tool for home defense or open carry. And finally, we arrive at the champion, the gun that defies physics. The Smith & Wesson Model 327 Performance Center, usually the 2-inch barrel variant. This is the Pugilist. It's short, it's stocky, and it is absolutely mean. This takes the capacity of the 627, 8 rounds of .357 Magnum, and puts it into a package made of scandium alloy and titanium. It weighs significantly less than the steel version. It brings that massive N-frame firepower into a weight class that is actually carryable. It looks like something from a sci-fi movie. The barrel shroud is angular. The cylinder is a dull gray titanium. It has this aggressive, all-business aesthetic. Shooting full-house magnums through this is an experience. It barks. It creates a fireball that will clear your sinuses. But that's the point. This is a fighting gun. It's designed to end a confrontation immediately. The 327 PC utilizes moon clips, which hold all 8 rounds together. This allows for reloads that are almost as fast as a semi-automatic magazine change. You drop the empty clip, drop in a fresh cluster of 8, and close the cylinder. Boom! I recall a training course where a guy was running one of these. The instructor was a semi-auto purist, tried to give him a hard time about obsolete technology. Then he watched the guy run a plate rack with 8 rounds of 38 Special Plus P in under 3 seconds. The instructor shut up. The Model 327 takes the top spot because it combines the impossible. Massive 8-round Magnum capacity, a lightweight, carry-friendly frame, and custom shop reliability. It is the pinnacle of what a defensive revolver can be. It's expensive, yes, but how much is your life worth? So, there you have it. We've gone from the 9-shot cowboy plinkers all the way up to the titanium beasts holding 8 rounds of magnum force. The landscape of the revolver has changed. You aren't limited to 5 shots anymore. You have options. Whether you want the zero-recoil swarm of bees from the 43C or the hand cannon capability of the 327, the market has an answer. Here is the question I want you to answer down below. If you had to carry a revolver for the rest of your life, are you taking the light and fast .22, or are you dealing with the weight to get that .357 magnum power? Train hard, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.